Greetings, guys. I'm here to illustrate a contradiction that occurs in the red pill, quote unquote, alpha male community where men are trying to get to the top of earning and all areas of success to attract the most amount of women because women will like to select men based upon those traits and that other women are interested in them and but what's happening here as I'm going to show is that on one hand they're saying that it's men's fault for or men's responsibility for the way the world works and that it's always on the man to be logical and to make choices as to how to raise a family and how to choose who to marry and so on. But then on the other hand, they're blaming either feminism or women for being more promiscuous or or and so on. And so I have a series of clips in these tabs laid out, and let's get started with this one.
A relationship, it's because they chose to be in a relationship with me, right? He asked me to be his girlfriend, which means that he enjoys my presence.
Or
he
you
enjoys everything that I provide. So
see, this is what guys. This is that. What you
like
just
I
said.
didn't force him to
What
be
you
in a
just said is a
relationship.
perfect example why I tell you guys never ever ask a girl to be your girlfriend, bro. 100%. Never ever ask. That. No, you guys gotta ask.
So it can also be in reference to he's saying girlfriend, but to me that's half-hearted. Let's just say it's marriage. So he's suggesting even in marriage that the woman should ask the man because, and here's the reason why.
Woman has to ask the man, and that's it. That what she said right there explains exactly why I say that all the time. Women have to ask you because men are the ones that give commitments. So the girl's got to ask you for the commitment, and then you dictate the terms. Because the problem is that when the guy asks the girl out, the girl thinks, oh, I qualify. I've already done everything I need to do to secure this guy's commitment. And they're not gonna be better. They're not gonna self-approve. They're gonna think I qualify as is. I'm not gonna do anything better. Which is why so many women behave poorly and behave the way that they do because men don't hold them to a standard.
If I'm in a
So some of the things that are presented here are I agree with in terms of the logic of what he's saying, but I still think there's a better approach. So what he's saying is that if guys just go goo goo gaga over a woman and, ask them out, which to me, going on a date is something only married people do. So it's making the woman feel like she basically, has grabbed the man, has the man's 100%, desire and attention. And part of this is a consequence of men not being fully self-intimate, both in the sexual sense and also just loving yourself and just enjoying yourself and being in that frequency of love. And when men don't do those things, they end up being very desperately needy from a woman, and women all they have to do is nothing, just be there with their bodies, and they can control the man with their bodies. And so, but if a man is principled, he will not want to marry someone or be intimate with them. It's kind of the same thing. He will not want to engage, romantically with somebody unless he loves them and sees them in terms of a wife material and that he's husband material, and then it becomes a question of how do you efficiently approach that, which I discuss in other videos, but how you officially approach marriage. But here I've got other points here to show. Let's see here. So here we go. Let's listen to this one.
Easily. We're talking about a micro portion.
Let me raise the volume here.
of men in general, because most guys don't want to accept the step of knowledge. Most men don't want to understand what hypergamy is. Most guys don't want to understand what game is. Most guys don't want to get in the gym and train. Most guys don't want to understand that they need to go ahead and create multiple sources of income to protect themselves against what the fuck is coming. Because I'm telling y'all guys, a recession is coming. We're long overdue for one.
Okay, so this is suggesting that this idea of hypergamy, that women only want, the most attractive financial whatever guy, that's a certain amount of portion of women, and I would not want a woman who just wants a guy because she's physically and financially attracted to him. I would want, I want a woman who likes me for who I am. That's, for me, the foundation of the relationship. It's on a soul level. It's on a level of shared unique interests and shared values and just wanting to live your life together through the ups and downs. And the foundation of being able to do that is having similar cultural and religious and personal values, not only being financially stable and having your having certain physical qualities.
Changed, and I'm telling you guys how to play the game with these new rules, because chivalry is fucking dead and women killed it. So I'm teaching you guys how to be the
So what he's saying here is that chivalry is dead and women killed it, but I always posit that it's men's responsibility as to managing the world and making it so women can live in it and be feminine. The fathers and their brothers protect their sisters and mothers, and even the term mother, it's not wise to label somebody your higher authority, because it makes your mind want to make decisions based upon them, what they want for you, and that just creates an internal cognitive dissonance where you don't feel like you're making your right decisions, and it's unhealthy. And I think it's one of the main reasons that men resent or mistreat women, and men who really use terms like mother, grandmother, aunt. It makes them angry at an unconscious level, and it makes them feel like they're being objectified by the person that they're calling mother, but it's their choice to do. They can easily call that person their equal, like their sister or their friend, instead of mother, and so on. And that would allow them to not be in a relationship where it's like a hierarchical relationship, and then they would treat women with more respect, instead of objectifying women and taking out that anger on them. And he goes on to say,
asshole. The fuck boy that they want to talk shit about, oh, he's a jerk, he's an asshole, blah, blah, blah. The bad boy that they, try to shame, but they bang on the side. I'm teaching you how to be that guy, because I see that the game has changed. We live in a deregulated.
So he's trying to suggest that women will choose, whoever they think is like the most dominant in a situation, and obviously that plays out in schools, especially high school, where the guys, it's not really about financial stability and creating security. It's more about who's the most attractive and who likes who. And then even people who are supposedly, promiscuous or having all the intimacy, they're kind of sharing each other as well. It's kind of this polyamorous thing. So on the surface, it may look like, oh, this guy's getting all the ladies, but he's also sharing other ladies with other guys, and so it's a completely backward situation. But let's continue on.
You want a guy to be a traditional man and bring you flowers and act like a gentleman and shit? Fuck no. Y'all are traditional women, so why should we be traditional men?
I'm traditional, but I just don't care for flowers. I can't relate.
I like flowers.
Like, they're gonna die.
Okay, so he makes the same point here that he made earlier in in this video. Basically, he's saying that if you make a move and make it look like you're really interested in the woman, but it doesn't, it's like, why are you treating them like your wife? You're not supposed to do anything intimate with a woman until you're married to them. Because before you're married, it should all just be a question of the science of selection, how you which can be done all via email. You can, and looking at their social media and whatnot, you can tell a lot about them. You can ask questions, and it can be a scientific thing. It doesn't have to be about them, or it doesn't have to be any physical reason for being on a physical date. It can all happen via the internet.
God. I would argue you are not a traditional woman, but okay.
I am. I'm traditional. I just don't care for flowers. Like,
or care to talk to the mic.
Oh my God. Okay, my fault. I just don't care for flowers. I just don't. Like, it's cute if you bring it. Like, that's cute.
So yeah, the point is that if you're doing all these things for someone, it's like, why are you doing it? You should only do it in the vibration of love. Otherwise, it's just all the either flowers or asking someone on a date. It's because they just want sex.
And to let her know that you can still get other bitches, whether that's you going to a restaurant and flirting with the waitress, or you going to when you guys go out and stuff like that, you may give a little look here or have girls look at you, whatever.
Okay, so here what he's saying is that you need to make your woman know that other women want you, and this all really applies in half-hearted, weak relationships like boyfriend, girlfriend, or partner relationships where they're not married, where the woman doesn't take the man's name. She doesn't trust him enough to do so. He's not able to financially protect her enough and allow her to be in her feminine and be a woman. And even if for some reason he can't, like if he gets injured or something, he can't work, and the woman has to provide. If they're truly in love and they have the same values, then they'll be happy to do that. But the point is to the extent that he can, that the husband be be the man for her, be masculine for her.
Maybe you need to make sure that your girl sees with her own two fucking eyes that you're sex.
So this is only, like I said, it's only relevant if you're not married. If you are married and in love, then he gives really good advice to people who are promiscuous and have relationships that are not as strong as marriage, but it doesn't really mean anything when two people are actually married. All right, let's see this one.
If I had to make my distinction, and you guys might disagree with me, I'd say there's a bunch of beautiful women in Miami. They're definitely easier to sleep with, but they'd be harder to retain. Yes. And that's because the ideals that is instilled in their mind are less congruent with a relationship, right? So if you get with the Ukrainian...
Okay, so here what he's saying is that, generalizing, that women in the West are promiscuous and women elsewhere in America are promiscuous, and women elsewhere are quote-unquote more traditional. And the reason they're more traditional is because their fathers look out for them, and their fathers protect them and help them to find a husband instead of putting them out there to find a husband and all that type of thing. And these guys would probably think that's a joke, and they wouldn't even protect their daughters in that way. But the issue here is these guys are not perpetuating the culture of the woman they want. They like a virgin woman, just like most men do, but they're not living out the cultural norms that require that create, virgin women. Obviously, if women are if women are all virgins, the men all have to be virgins as well, and that requires gender separation, especially in younger years, like till the end of high school and so on, and it requires no premarital intimacy, and there are techniques to avoiding that. Mainly, there are many techniques. I have a list of them, everything from wearing a purity ring to really developing strong value system where you respect yourself a lot and don't want to give away your body casually to anyone. What's important to see is that it's women's most valuable thing that they have is their body, and the reason for that is because women think that if a man wants to have sex with her, it means he might want to marry her, and then they try to convince him to marry her. But what actually happens is it means he doesn't want to marry her, because if he really respected her, he would marry her before taking her most valuable resource, which is her body. And here's the reason why. And then obviously exchanging his value, his money and protection for her body. So it becoming so that only a man can ask a woman to marry them. And the reason for that is because it's the man's responsibility to know, what is logically, what is his life trajectory, and what he can provide to a woman. And then obviously a woman should also be deciding to an extent who she wants to be with, but she should also have her father and her other men in her life, like brothers. They should also be talking to the man and vetting the man. And then let's see. And people think that the only way to get to know someone is by physical intimacy and even verbal intimacy on a date, but you can learn a lot about people in 5 minutes just by glancing at their social media page and by trying to figure them out in that way. And so a woman has the body as her bargaining chip, because once she gives her body to him, why would he want to marry her? He already has everything he could want from her. So this is, and the thing is that, both men and women, they're until they're maybe 25 or older, they're not mature in their approach to things. And so men want to have sex, and that sex is the main driving factor, and then women want a man who excites them and seems like a strong, dominant, instead of wanting a guy who can actually provide her with a nice life and for her children, and really be monogamous and exclusive to her. So bottom line is it's the wise older people in society that should create a society that perpetuates itself, a society where families perpetuate themselves. And this is like the complete antithesis. It's the complete opposite of as we know, children from single parent homes and divorces, they have a rate of twice as much, troubles, and it's about love, guys. Love is the reason to have kids. Isn't it's of course there's the biological function in it, but it's because you have shared values that you want to imbue and you want to share into the children, and that's how you create love, including that, no premarital intimacy, get ready for marriage. Your life should be oriented around marriage, because that's what creates more life. That creates a stable family environment, and it creates an opportunity for the children to see that love. The children see the love, and then they want it, instead of them seeing the divorce and then they want to get divorced too, because they saw that it didn't work. And obviously people should do their own research, but we also do influence each other culturally, so we should want to create a culture that's sustainable. But here's the thing: even if we destroy each other because we don't have enough love in our culture, in our world, then maybe it's like we're going to reincarnate into other millions of civilizations in the cosmos. And the same with, if we, like, I'm into vegan activism. Vegan activism is about not acquiring negative karma by unnecessarily hurting other creatures, which could lead to, why would the universe allow that? Why would the universe encourage unnecessarily hurting other creatures when we can eat plants? So these things to consider, but don't worry, if all else fails, we just incarnate, and that's who we are. We're consciousness. But thanks for looking into these. You can pause it and look at the title of the video if you wanted to look more into any of these particular videos. But you get the idea. It's about men wanting to be masculine and wanting to uphold and protect and provide for women and celebrate women. And for that matter, another thing that is brought to conversation in these topics is like this idea of women wanting, men with bigger genitals, and the reality is that even if that's more stimulating for women, or what women want, or what men want in women's genitals or women's bodies like breasts, I think the most important thing is for men to treat the woman's reproductive, her whole body is sacred, and also to celebrate the woman's flower. And that is a way of stop thinking about your own genitals as men, and start thinking about women and their bodies, and that will bring you peace. And it's the act of the oral sex that's kind of, and then massaging your wife, that's ways of, the whole intercourse puts more of a focus on the man, like dominating the woman with his body and his genitals. But when the I think the secret to a peaceful society is being more oriented around a woman, and kind of celebrating her as the magnificent, like the magnificent creature that she is. And we're creatures too, but we're conscious, and we can live in a happy, and this isn't to exclude people who are LGBTQ. They should get married too, obviously. They should have healthy, happy marriages. And when we talk about them and say it's normal to be LGBTQ, but you should find the right person, and it's more difficult to avoid premarital intimacy because obviously men spend more time with men, and then women spend more time with women. Men's sports, all that. So there needs to be an extra layer, but since they're not having children right away, then maybe they could pair up earlier, and then maybe the men could pair up the general population of the standard, heterosexual male and female couples. They could pair up maybe at 30 and then have children, because people are getting healthier, and so they can live longer. I'm sure women can have children healthier longer, but these are all subjects to also consider, and there's obviously science and statistics behind everything I'm saying, and it should be looked into, questioned. What I'm saying should be questioned, but I hope I encouraged the path for you to start looking at things and start looking at the real root issues here. So thanks again for watching.